Nice.
Hello.
There we go. The man himself. Okay, so first of all, just want to say thank you for coming on. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. So a lot of people obviously know a lot about you since you've been around for ages at this point, right? But can you tell us a little bit about your history, like how you started out with all the melee stuff?
So basically, in like, I don't know when, like 2014 or some shit, I just used to play Dota. And I bought Shiv 1 in the beta, and I played it for like a couple of hours, and I was like, oh, funny meme game, Ragdoll, hehe. And then I like never played it again. And then, well, I did play it again, but I played it again like 3 years later. I was like, I was looking for games to play. And I didn't, do you know a player called Izzle? I don't know if someone in Twitch up, I know him.
It doesn't say me anything now.
He's like a really old player. I basically witnessed him do like a 1v7 in an LTS, and I was like, yo, this game is fucking sick. Like, I didn't realize there was any skill to the game. So that literally, I probably wouldn't be playing Melee Salsa if it wasn't for Izzle doing some like insane fucking 1vx shit.
Oh wow,
yeah.
So he pretty much inspired you to start like getting into the grind and get to like where you are in terms of melee statues.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Damn, that's kind of crazy. I mean, you hear about that kind of story a lot in like other games, like in CS:GO and that kind of stuff. But I don't think you hear about it a lot in smaller niche games like this. So that's kind of cool that he had such a big influence, actually. So you're a partner on Twitch, right? You sit on around 40,000 followers, and you have like a solid viewership, right? You have a good community. What was it like getting to that part, like the road to partner for you?
Honestly, like it was, I don't know, like it's always felt the same basically, because I used to just stream to like 30 viewers in Shiv 1 for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years. And then when Mordhau came out, the only difference is that I would just get asked the same question like 300 times a day. And then because my viewership was really high on Mordhau release, I applied for partnership, and then I got it. So I mean, that was it really. Like, it didn't really feel any different. Like, if you stream to like 1,000 people or 30 people, it's honestly not that much different. If anything, like, it's easier to maintain conversation with the chat when there's less viewers.
Yeah, that's
when there's
true.
when there's loads of people and you're trying to like read what everyone's saying and like interact with everyone, then like what happens is your brain just gets tired very quickly, and then you just like, oh my god, and then you just like can't really like conversate as well.
Yeah,
it's not that much different, honestly.
I mean, like, I've only had like 150 viewers tops once when I did a tournament, and like chat went so fast I could literally not read it. Like, I could not follow up at all because everyone's spamming, and it's cool to experience, but man, it's also a little stressful having to keep up with a lot. Like right now I have like 50 viewers, right? It's not like any huge numbers, but for me that's a lot, right? And I still find it a little hard sometimes to keep up when it's going fast, But yeah, it's crazy.
Well, the thing is, the amount of viewers that you have won't really like. It doesn't reflect how fast your chat's gonna be. So, for example, like a tournament chat is always gonna be a fucking shit show.
Yes,
but like,
true.
If you look at like Clean Chat or some shit, his chat's like pretty manageable because he's built like a pretty solid community, considering how many viewers he gets. So like, it is dependent. But yeah, it's just like, the other thing is that when you got more viewers, you kind of you have to get to know your community, and you have to remember everyone. That's also really hard, especially for me, because I have fucking shit memory.
Oh, same. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, it's a little awkward when you come in and say, yo, welcome to the channel, nice to meet you, and you're just like, I was here like a week ago, and it's like, oh. Yeah, I know that a little bit. So, what do you think about Twitch as a platform in itself? I mean, obviously you're made it to like top 0.1% or something like that at being partnered. But like, what do you think of the actual platform itself?
I mean, like it's a really good platform because it's like there's nothing else really like Twitch, but it's also got its downside. So like for me, I still consider myself a small streamer. Yeah, I'm partnered, but like things about Twitch is kind of like an oligarchy where basically like all the big streamers just have like a shit ton of viewers, and like they, you know, like it will always be that way, just the way how the platform is built.
Yep.
Twitch doesn't really help you grow as a streamer.
No.
The best way to grow on Twitch is to grow outside of Twitch. That's literally the best way to do it, because the actual tools inside Twitch don't really help you. So like YouTube, Twitter, even like Snapchat and shit is honestly better. So like it could do with some improvements there. Also, like one thing I was speaking to someone about last night actually is like it's the same with YouTube as well, but your job security as a content creator is fucking shit.
Oh yeah.
So for example, I mean, it's not specific. The same kind of thing could happen with Twitch. But what happened to me is recently I had a YouTube video get taken down, like some really old Rust video, and it got taken down because of this like violent criminal gangs organization policy. And I was like, man, it's me just playing Rust. Like, what's that got to do with violent criminal organizations, right? And I got a fucking email from YouTube like, oh well, this is a warning that you've broken this policy, and we've taken your video down, and this is just a warning, but we've demonetized your channel for 3 months. And I was how the fuck's that a warning? Like, the thing is, I don't make any money off my YouTube, but imagine if my main source of income was YouTube.
Yeah.
And now I don't get paid for 3 months. Do you know what I mean? That's fucked. Like, and I'm a wage slave right now. You know, I literally live like rent, like paycheck to paycheck. So I'd be fucked then. You know, I'd be like,
yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like the money doesn't build up. It's like I've literally just been declined being able to get paid for 3 months. That's it. So like I would be like at least £1,000 in debt after that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's fucked, man. And like the same thing can happen with Twitch. You know, like you can just get banned and that's it. All your income is gone. Like you're fucked.
Yeah, that is. I think it's kind of weird. They need to be more specific with ban reasons, you know, because a lot of the time people don't even know why they got banned, and it will take them like a month to figure out what even happened. And you see a lot of YouTubers kind of being in the problem where they get blacklisted as well and stuff like that, but they have to rely on Patreon and PayPal from their viewers, and it's not a nice spot to be put in. And what you said before with the viewers always being on the big streamer, it's kind of true. I do agree with that a lot, because there's not really any discoverability on Twitch. You have to actively go out and seek content creators. And it's really hard because, like, let's say you take League of Legends, right? There might be some amazing streamers, but if they have like 10 viewers and there's thousands and thousands in front of them, how are they ever going to be discovered? Like the content creators' potential can be, limited by the platform a little bit as well. So you have to make a YouTube, as you said, or really promote yourself out there. But if you don't have a following on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram and that kind of stuff either, then you're really, you have to build everything up at the same time. It takes a lot of time. So, we gotta talk a little bit about Mordhau as well, obviously. You're, huge in Mordhau. I know you don't really play it anymore much, but, what are your thoughts on the community as a whole? Like, your experience with that?
I mean, honestly, the Mordhau community is like, I don't think it's inherently bad, right? Like the people in the Mordhau community are not like evil by any means. The problem is that there's no incentive to behave in Mordhau. So like as a result, the community has painted a really bad image for the game that would really inhibit the game from going anywhere like more than what it is. So like for example, I guarantee that Twitch rivals will probably never want to do another Mordhau tournament just because of the stigma that Mordhau has. And like, if anyone's not aware, Mordhau has a really bad stigma in other gaming communities. Like people literally see it as like a white supremacist game. I couldn't imagine like having such a bad stigma in your game. And it's not a fucking white supremacist game. Yeah, people say N-word in the chat, but it doesn't matter. Like it's people's perspective of it, right? And that fucks the... Yeah, and I tried my best, man. Like I tried to get the comp players to behave because they represent like, the higher like Mordhau society. But like they'll behave with me, but then when they're not like playing on my stream or whatever, they'll just fucking misbehave, and then it's like, what can I do? You know, I'm not a fucking father. I'm just a fucking streamer.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, again, it shouldn't be your responsibility either, to be fair. People should just know what to say and, you know, when to say it. I mean, the thing with the internet is people always have a big mouth and always feel like they can say whatever with no repercussions, right? And, you know, I think that Mordhau is as toxic as it shows more because there's no, you know, there's no ban hammer for it or anything like that. Like in League of Legends, it was super toxic in the first couple of seasons, but you know now if you say jungle difference, you can literally get banned off of that. So people like they shut up, right? There's not that thing here in Mordhau the same way, and I think it's kind of it limits its potential a little bit that people from the outside don't give it a chance because they hear the bad reputation. Because like yeah, there are people saying the N-word and stuff like that. But they usually get managed, like on private servers, they get muted or people kick them or that kind of stuff. So it's not even as bad as people make it out to be. It's just a little bit of a shame, I think, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a little bit of, you know... I actually had another question that was kind of a little bit of the same with the, you know, if you think the Mordhau has a toxicity issue, but I think we already touched a bit on that. I don't think it's worse than a lot of other games. There's just no filter here, really. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I think you see a lot more like emotional breakdowns, for example, in like a MOBA. But yeah, there's no filter, and there's just no reason to have a filter because it's like, even if right, okay, I'll give you an example. What business do you have saying the N-word on a official server? There's literally no reason to do it. Like, there's no... If you said that in any other game, you would just get auto-muted, auto-banned, because like the only person that's gonna do that is a fucking troll. Do you know what I mean? There's literally no other reason. So they didn't have that in place. And then on top of that, the private servers can't be moderated because obviously it's a private server. So then what happens is that you would have the official tournaments. You would have to aspire to get into the official tournaments. So and as a result, you'd have to behave, and you know the devs would do like a background check, and you make sure that like not a fucking like complete monkey behind the scenes. But there's no official tournaments. There's nothing like that. So there's no incentive to behave from the very start, and there's no, like you said, no filter as well. So yeah, it just like it looks worse than it is, and then but then what happens is it attracts those kind of people as well. There's also some shit as well where it's like if someone's like slightly racist, like I can be on like Red Blue stream, right, and someone says something like racist, and then someone in the chat's like, oh my god, he's so based, and it's like, no, like that's fucking cringe. Like saying someone's based when they're being racist it's not based, it's just cringe. It's literally just cringe.
I do think that, you know, humor is subjective, and like, you know, I think that everything is off limit for me, at least like in regards to humor. But then again, you gotta make sure it's funny though. I'm not saying you should spam the N-word and that kind of stuff, but I mean, like, if you go to watch a comedy show and you know someone is like slightly edgy, you know, because it's meant to be humor, right? I think it's different. I do not think you should be doing it in games like these though. For example, there are some pretty edgy I mean, it also very much depends. Like, there's difference between making a joke and just blasting out the N-word every time you have the chance, right? Because that's obviously not funny. That's not what that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying the N-word is funny. I'm just saying, like, you know, humor has pretty much always been based off of someone else's regard, you know. That's usually how it is in comedy a lot of the time, or themselves. I would not ever want voice chat in Mordhau, ever. That would be the worst. I can't think of a single reason why that would be a good idea. But yeah, okay, so let's move on. Are you...
Voice chat in Civ 1, but they got rid of it because it was literally terrible. It was like the worst idea.
Yeah, I can't imagine, man. It'd be like having to be forced to use voice chat in other competitive games. That is never a good idea. It's like, I think it would be fine if you could... No, actually, no. Actually, it would be a hassle no matter how you implemented it at this point. Okay, so Are you excited for Civ 2? I mean, I watched your streams the days you were streaming, and you had 1,000 viewers, and I heard a lot of what you said, but I kind of want you to specify a little bit for the chat. Like, what's your thoughts on it so far?
I mean, Civ 2 is gonna be fun for like a couple of months, maybe, to just like pub on. It'd be a nice, refreshing break from Mordhau.
Yeah.
The thing is that like Civ 2 is not competitive. It won't be competitive, and I don't think Tom Banner would let it be competitive, even if, like, you know, for example, let's say there was a comp scene, right? And the comp scene, like, they literally brought out like a scientific paper, like, if you made this change, the game would be better for comp. I'm 99% sure Tom Banner would just be like, nah, sorry, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So as a result, it's not going to be the same. I mean, like, Mordhau is not really a competitive experience, but like, there's not going to be much of that, you know, that get good grind. I guarantee you, it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So like, it's just going to be there to like go in the pub, like pub stomp or whatever, play for a couple of months, and then like maybe not touch it for like a year. That's how I see Civ 2 at least, and that's pretty much like what Mordhau was for me as well. The only difference is Mordhau is that like stuck around because I thought there was more chance that so there's more chance that, you know, the devs might like try and push it further, but they didn't. So
yeah, that's a shame. I do agree with you on that. I feel like, you know, Tom Banner knows their audience very well. It is like a lot of casuals they're trying to cash in on here, and I think that's why most of the Mordhau players say it's dumb, stupid fun or whatever, right? Because it's like a game you can hop into and do well on and just meme about, you know, with your mates. But I don't think it's like, it doesn't have that feel where it makes you want to grind for something, because there's not really much to grind for, you know what I mean, besides cosmetics. But Mordhau is kind of a little bit in the same spot now. The only reason to grind if you're high level in Mordhau is to get better or to, well, like, you know, win tournaments and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. I mean, like, the thing is with Tom Banner is that like they know their community, but also like they experience the comp community in Civ 1, and they're fucking afraid of them, basically. Like, they're afraid of them. So like in Civ 1 there was this whole like this was before I started playing, but there was this whole drive for like this pro mod or whatever, and then it was like toxic as fuck, and then everyone fucking spazzed out. Nice voice changer, bro. What's that? I just dropped my battery.
Wait.
So yeah, like they don't want to support like the comp scene ever again.
Okay, my bad. I literally misclicked my stream deck there. I did not mean to put voice changer on. Okay, let's get that established. Okay, my bad. Yeah, that was not intentional. It's gone now, right? Okay,
Yeah, it's fine though. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. What were you saying? I don't know, man. I feel bad for that. My bad.
It's basically like Tom Banner had experience with the comp scene, like, and it's a different comp scene, right? But like, I guarantee you, internally they just have this stigma where it's like competitive equal toxic, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want that anywhere near their game because they already went through this with Civ 1. So like, yeah, I think they're just gonna keep away from it.
Yeah, I mean, like, on some level I can kind of understand their thought process, but I just don't understand, like, you know, because it's not really true either. There will always be toxicity in any game that's online. If you have a bad day or you get shit on, you will always lash out, you know, or some people will.
It's more the community towards the devs. Like, it's like, you know, when right, you know, when there's just no updates to Mordhau, everyone gets really pissed off because it's like, you know, where's the balance? Why is it so fucking imbalanced? And then that hatred will get directed either towards the other players. So like, you know, you have Bear like, oh my god, why are you chambering? Oh my god. Or like, it will just get like directed towards the devs directly, so that it creates this hatred, like, as a result, if you can't manage it. If you don't know how to manage the competitive scene, then it will be like that. Whereas like, if you look at a game which is successfully balanced, like Dota, you don't really have many people being like, oh, fuck off, Ice Frog, fucking bitch, because everyone knows the game is like really skilled and really balanced, right? So then that hatred is not like directed towards the devs.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, the devs do stuff sometimes that put them in a bad light. For example, like, a good example is yesterday I was supposed to have Jax on, he didn't show. I didn't get a message or anything. Had like 80 people sitting waiting for him, and they were all like, community manager, by the way, you know. Stuff like that. I mean, I can understand if you can't make it and stuff like that, you know, it's unlucky, but it doesn't reflect nicely on them, you know, because some people got really angry, actually. I feel a little bad for him for it, but, you know, it's... Yeah, you know, you gotta show the people as well, the community, that the devs are very committed. Like, instead of just showing something like once every 5 months or so, you gotta really show it, or like just promote it a little more, you know, because we got super hyped for the next patch, and they were like, oh, nothing of the stuff we showed was gonna come here. They changed Jam Frame to parry, they did something with the animations, but there was not really any new content. Like, there was a bit of cosmetics that people used for like 1 day, and now it's like they didn't really do much. People are already used to the Jam Frame to parry thing. So it's, I don't know, man. I feel like they get more hate than they deserve, because I know they are trying, but they also need to show the people that they are trying in order for them to win something back.
Try, like, there's a thing about Tritanian. Some of them try, some of them give a shit, and others don't.
Yeah.
So as a result, they drag down the team, and as well, like, I think internally Tritanian have a culture where it's like they're kind of like very respectful of each other, but as a result, that means that if one person holds the keys to this aspect of the game, no one's going to say shit to him. No one's going to be like, look, you need to fucking sort this out, because people are not happy. Like, they'll just be like, oh, well, he do that. I just do this, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, as a result, there's no like drive for the overall health of the game. That's how it feels, because I don't think I've ever seen them do anything which seems to be directed at the overall health of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. I don't know much about you know, their dev team, like, on behind closed doors. I know nothing pretty much, but if it is a situation where some people are slacking and the others are not, say, kicking his ass, saying, yo, we gotta, you know, move on this, it's very important that this gets fixed, or people are very unhappy with this change, maybe we should revert it or find a fix or something, because it's at the stage it is right now, they'll fuck something up and then they'll let it run for like a week, and then the hotfix will come out and some more stuff will be broken, and then they hotfix the hotfix and stuff like that. And I get it, if you make a mistake and you do a hotfix, obviously that's a good thing, but like, stuff should be tested out better before they get put in the game when something is severely unbalanced, for example, you know what I mean?
They don't have any testers there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like, why not? Like, have some trusted community members that, you know, could have, like, just to have like 30 people that can test it, or some stuff like that, you know, on each region. And because I don't think they need to pay anyone. People will literally do it just because they want to try and test it out, you know. And it would be actually really good for the community if the community was making decisions for the dev team to some extent on the balancing, because yeah, Cross, he plays the game a little bit once in a while, but I don't think he plays nearly as much as all the rest of us, you know. So it's just kind of, you know, fuck, it feels a little bad. Yeah, but let's move on. Shift 2 again. Do you feel like it's a threat for Mordhau in any way?
Honestly, it's hard to say. Like, the way how I think if Shiv 2 came out on Steam, it would be much more direct competition. But I genuinely think that there's a pretty good chance that both games will just coexist. So like, there's gonna be a lot of people that never did well in Mordhau and never liked it, but they go over to Shiv 2, find Shiv 2's more intuitive for them, and then they do well in Shiv 2, and then they'll be like, yeah, Shiv 2 better than Mordhau, fucking cringe game. And then obviously it'll be vice versa as well. I think that overall, Shiv 2 is like a better commercial product than Mordhau, because it's got like its design. It has a more strong design, right? They know what they want from the game, and they know what the game's trying to do.
Yes, I agree.
They also have like really good map and objective design. Because the thing is that like a lot of people will shit on Invasion and the Mordhau like map devs, but it's honestly not that much their fault. So basically, the reason why a lot of the Mordhau maps feel shit and they don't feel good to play is because they didn't even know what their game mode was when they started making the maps. Like, they just rushed out Frontline, Like, but bear in mind, Invasion didn't even exist back then. So like they rushed out Frontline like 3 months before release because they just had no fucking idea like what to do with the game mode. Didn't know where to take the game. Whereas Civ 2 was like, right, we've been working on this. I mean, they've had this franchise for like 9 years or whatever. Whenever Civ 1 came out, and they did the same game mode for Deadliest Warrior. Actually, no, they didn't. Ignore that. But they did it for Mirage, and then they did it for, and obviously they already did it in Civ 1. So they already have a shit ton of experience making maps for this game mode, right? So the experience is there as well. And they have a lot of professional help. So they have help from Deep Silver, which is like the guys that worked on Time Splitters, I'm pretty sure. They're like some fucking age-old industry veterans. And then the guys that made Killing Floor also help out with the Civ 2 dev. So like, they have a lot of professional help. And then they also have more money originally to develop with, because Mordhau was made off like a 300k rough budget, whereas Civ 2 is made with like big epic like money, like mega grant tier fucking like millions, epic store deal shit.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of the reasoning for people not liking Frontlines as well is the feels so empty, like you're at this huge castle, but it's the same 2 choke points you meet people at every time. Like the map is played the same way every round, and I think that if they maybe put a little more into aesthetics, I mean, it's too late now, right? But like the aesthetic is not really there. It doesn't feel like a siege. It doesn't feel like a grand scale battle, Because, for example, you take Rat, right? It's always the exact 2 same spots that everyone clashes. I feel like in Chivalry, no matter where you go on the maps, you will always find something. Because, I mean, there is obviously choke points. There's that one map on the bridge, for example.
That's why. It's like they made the map, and then they fit the game mode around it, whereas with Civ 2, like they did a stream on the Unreal Engine Twitch, where they basically explained their map design. But it's like they will concept the map out, so they draw it, like concept art, and then they say like, right here we're gonna. And the guy speaking on the stream had like a really strong French accent as well, and he was like, yes, we have 3 main combat area, which is basically explaining like how they do all the map flow. So they have like chokes where they like what happens is like the map's kind of open, but it's linear, and then it will split into like 3 points. Whereas Mordhau's map is like massive open, and there's no flow to it either. And the reason for that is, like I said, because the game mode was made after the map, so they had to retroactively fit the map with the game mode, which is why it feels that way. So like if you look at the newer ones, I think it's like, which is like the massive castle, is it Castello? Like that's got a much better flow than like Camp, for example.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's got there. They're getting there, but it's just like overall Civ 2 is just gonna like drop with a bunch of really good maps and shit.
I see, like, for example, on Fetiora as well, there's, like, when you go into where the nobles are, there's this little place with the stairs and the doors you can go through. That is always just a clusterfuck, and you can't really move in, like, that easily, and everyone just blocks each other's doors. And then there's in Civ 2, that big map where there's, before the final push, there's this long bridge you have to get over. There's like all the players are on the bridge, but it kind of feels better because it's bigger, there's space, and you really kind of feel like you're clashing into like an opponent army. It I don't know, like you just gotta make the flow better from Mordhau. Those matches, like I wouldn't touch Invasion or Frontlines with another man's stick. I just wouldn't. I don't like it. I think it's way too. It just doesn't feel right. There's something that's just off with it, where I feel like Chivalry 2, I don't like the combat as much, but I like the map design, the audio, the visuals kind of fit the gameplay. I think they kind of hit the mark with what they want to put out there. As you said, it fits their community better, and it's a better marketed product. And there's more hype based around Civ 2 now than there's been for any Mordhau patch or update for last year, easily. And I know it's a new game and stuff, but like they know where to put their marketing. There's not really any marketing for Mordhau anymore. Like a Steam sale here and then and a free weekend here and then, but there's no like they don't do much to market it outside that of what I've seen. Not on Twitter and all the other platforms.
With Mordhau marketing, right? They never had any marketing. It's like they almost don't believe in it. There's one person who I would say is possibly responsible for most of Mordhau's success, like commercially. Like obviously the product's good, but I mean marketing-wise, and it's actually clean. Like if it wasn't for clean, there's no way this game would have got anywhere near as much traction as it did, because he got all the big dogs to try it out. Like in alpha, he got Shroud to try it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like Summit, like a bunch of other big streamers as well that came from the Tarkov community. They gave it like this initial run, and it's all because Clean looks for these like tiny games. Because like, what you have to understand is that Mordhau in the alpha was really tiny, like barely anyone knew anything about it.
Yeah.
If you look at like their videos and shit, it's like they would get like 300k views max. In fact, I'm just gonna quickly check now. If I look at the Mordhau channel, there's literally like no one really knew about Mordhau, man. And like most of the and like even that, man, they're fucking. I have more subs than their YouTube channel. Do you know what I mean? And the most amount of views they ever got. Okay, so the official trailer. Okay, that was just before release. So before then, the most amount of views they got on a video was 640k, which is not really that much, honestly. Like, it's
No,
really
not on
that
YouTube
much.
now.
Yeah, exactly. So like honestly, clean is a result of a lot of their success. He helped them a fucking shit ton with the marketing.
I mean, it's good that someone did something, because again, like, you know, what a product is worth nothing if no one knows about it. You really gotta pay attention to knowing your audience and getting it out to them, or else they will never fucking, you'll never see it. So yeah, that it's cool that Keen did that. I didn't know about that actually. That's interesting. That he kind of solo carried the game's marketing.
He did, and he did it for free, and he barely got any kind of like. They never like even thanked him or anything really.
Ah, that's shitty.
Yeah. That's
just shitty, really. So, you were making a game at Mortem, right? I obviously know you can't, talk a lot about that because, it's in early stages and it's probably also under contract not to talk about it or something like that, I'd imagine, right? But is there anything, like, any tiny detail, anything new you can reveal, maybe date of some concept art or something interesting, or like your vision for the game, maybe? Because we all know everyone here wants the question, but we all know also that there's probably not much of an answer to it, but, might as well go ahead and ask.
Well, it's hard for me as well, because like I would love to talk about it all the time, because we have like a bunch of like we have like a lot of shit designed, right? That I would like to like talk about the design, because we're so proud of it.
Yeah.
That we've done finally. And the problem is that like, because we're still so early in dev, like we're still basically in alpha, that we don't want to like start revealing stuff to the competition, basically.
Yeah.
The main reason is like, if no one else could make a melee slasher, then we'd probably like talk about it a lot more. But yeah, we don't want to release stuff to the competition. So I'm just trying to think. Like the other thing as well is that like a lot of people go, fucking concept art game, lol, why just image? But like what you have to understand, I mean, it's not relevant to what you said, but it's just like a general thing, is that any professional game dev studio, they always start with the concept art.
Oh,
because
yeah.
How do you work with multiple artists? Like if there has to, basically what you have to understand about like not you, Sloth, but just in general, is like there's so many ways a game's art style can go when you start like making it into in-game assets. So you have to have this concept art, so everyone's like, otherwise you end up with everything looking like fucking different, like it's all from like different games and shit, because they're different artists. So like all our concept art's actually really old, and it's just there to help us with the design. But what I can say is that the concept art, nothing there is like just some random bullshit. Like everything in the concept art is getting like implemented to some degree. So like if people look into the concept art, you can probably put pieces of the game together more if you actually look at it. I'm not going to give specific hints, but that's basically all I can say. Like it's not just like random pieces of art, it's all going to get implemented in some way. That's like the whole point of it. It's already, like, for most of it, I'd say about like 60% of the concept art is probably in engine right now. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like that shit's getting implemented essentially. So yeah, you can put pieces of the game together with that.
I mean,
but as for like leaks and stuff, I'm not really sure what I can't really leak anything at this point yet. The only thing I'm happy to talk about is like our design, like philosophies and stuff like that, or like the processes that we do in the background. But when it comes to specifics of the game, I just can't leak.
No,
much yet.
that's fine. Like we all would just want to know a little more. It don't have to be something that's leaked in that sense. You know, we don't obviously don't want you guys to get in trouble, and I respect the fact that you don't want to talk about it being this early, especially if you don't want your hard work yoinked by competition, you know. But yeah, like I think it's cool that you did like it was you that had the idea with Ad Mortem, right?
I mean, yeah, to some. I mean, like I put the team together, right, and I'm like technically the company director, but it's like I run I make it very democratic within the team, right, and I make sure that we have like very open communication. So it's like if I design something and someone's not happy with it, then it's they are allowed to say like, you know, GIRU, this is fucking trash, like what is this? Do you know what I mean? And vice versa. Yeah, it's like we have this kind of like policy you know, within the company where like we're all able to like talk with each other and like sort out the design and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much. So even though I'm the director and like I oversee like a lot of stuff, it's still like, you know, it's like, put it this way, like I'm not arrogant enough. It's just like some random fucking guy with 0 years in like game dev to just like make a game and just be like, yeah, this game, you know, like I know exactly how to make a perfectly amazing game. Like I'm not that arrogant, right? So like there's a lot of people in the team. Some of them have got industry experience. Some of them are just like fucking big brain. And
how many are you?
I'm not gonna say how many we are, but we're pretty big for like an indie team. And on top of that, like, so I think how I can word this without like spoiling anything. It's like we have people with industry experience that are like within the team that are helping. But then like a lot of us are also like basically the talent that Tritonian didn't take. So there's a lot of
I see,
really fucking talented people. So like basically when I started putting the project together, like in the team, the biggest problem I had was not finding people for X, Y, and Z role. The biggest problem I had was like choosing who for what role, because there were so many fucking people that who were interested in making a game. You know, like a melee slasher. That Tritonian just like weren't recruiting, and there was fucking loads of talent, man, like so much of it. So yeah, like the team is basically a bunch of people like that. So like when we do show who's actually in the team, there will be people like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, they're gonna regret it in Tritonian not doing that, not hiring more people.
I think they will. There's a bunch of talent that Tritonian should have took on board that they didn't. But like it was the same for Mordhau, right? Like Mordhau had a bunch of talent that Tom Banner didn't take on board. So like, you know, with the Tritonian team specifically, like, you know, Greater, like Crush, Marox, all these people, these all played like Shiv and like Comp to some degree. There's a couple more that I'm forgetting. But like, you know, like before Mordhau was a thing, I knew these guys as just like random players, and then they started working on a game.
I see. So like, what is it that you actually do in regards to the game besides like being the oversight? Do you do any like coding or developing in that sense, you know? Yeah.
I do a lot of programming. So I do
programming, okay.
Networking, like the combat core, and then like the systems, like a bunch of systems. So like, say for example, like the Steamworks integration, all this kind of shit. And then like there'll be bits in here and there as well. So like, say for example, like I work a lot with our animator. And our animator is like, he doesn't just make an animation file and he's like, here you go, bro, like put that in. Like he gets like down and dirty with the code base. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking go into the
that's good to hear.
Yeah, his animation code in C++, like he literally learned C++ just to write like extra shit on his animation code. But then like obviously there'll be points where that interacts deeper within the game, so then I'll like work with him on there, or like, you know, like sometimes I have to like train him a bit on like different bits of like the C++ syntax and stuff. But like the guy is like a very fucking fast learner. Like I wish I learned programming as fast as that guy.
So he's like 200 IQ.
Yeah, he's literally like 200 IQ, and he's a very technical animator. Like he's very fucking big brain. So yeah, I'll work with him on like a bunch of different things, and then there'll be like bits here and there. So like for example, the deployment of the game, which is actually a fucking ball ache. Like it's actually a ball ache to deploy a game, especially with like Steam and shit on top. Like I'll handle all the deployment side of shit, and all that kind of shit. Yeah, just like other bits here and there. There's always like some like shit that needs doing basically, and I'm happy to like basically just like, because I know the code base very well. Right? There's no part of the code base that I'm just like, yikes, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. So like I'm like general in that regard. Like I can work like here, there, or whatever, or like someone needs help with like XYZ, then I can help there as well.
I think that sounds really good. I think you're giving us a lot of hope here. You know, it's so important for a dev team to influence each other as well, and you see that a lot in like the higher like AAA games, for example, right? There's the executives and the suits that pretty much decide what the devs are doing. So even though the devs actually are able to do a really good piece of work, they take direction to the point where they force them to do something that might be pretty shitty. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are, you know, working closely together and learning stuff off of each other at the level that you are. I think it's very cool. And when you put time down to learn stuff like that, what you said with the, what was the X something, the coding stuff, or what do you call it, programming with the animations, for example, the guy learning that shows a lot of initiative as well, like really wanting to get it done proper. So I've asked you this before, is there any time that the game is coming out? I know that you said last time, right, that it's gonna come out when it's ready, and setting a date is like early and stuff like that. You still feel that way, I'd imagine, right?
That's mostly like a public thing. Like basically we have internal deadlines.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Everything's planned, so we basically do like roadmaps. So
okay, cool.
We'll do like, yeah, we're gonna reach this. We're gonna reach these list of objectives done internally, and then what we do is we plan the next one, like before we even reached the upcoming one, and then when we reach the upcoming one, then we reassess and be like, yeah. And so we're always planning ahead, right? And then we have like set internal deadline dates for shit. So like we do have an internal like date roughly when we would want to release, but you never know, like, because the thing is that, like, for example, let's say we got a massive deal from Epic, like they really liked our alpha and they gave us like a mega grant, and then what we do is we decide to up our scope, right, to get some like really cool feature in or whatever. And then what happens is that might end up pushing like the game's release by like a month or something, or like you know, like who knows. So then by setting a straight deadline, like when we would release, is actually bad. And it's also very, very difficult to predict like 3 years in advance anyway.
Oh yeah, but exactly.
We know roughly like when we would want to release. It's just not public yet. But I mean, like, what I can definitely say is it won't be this year. I can definitely say that much.
Yeah, but I think it's also good not to give people like false hopes, because there's nothing worse like with the Cyberpunk situation where they feel pressure to give a new release date every time they have to push it back, because it just put more, you know, crunch on the devs and getting it ready in time, more stress, and the blowback is huge if you then don't deliver, you know. And in their specific, you know, situation, the game was a pile of shit when they released, like, bug-wise and performance-wise. I have a $4,000 PC and I run it like ass. So, you know, sometimes you gotta just take the time, and I feel like if that's what you guys are gonna do and take your time, making sure it's a good polished product, I don't mind waiting a long time for something that I know is quality. You know, I think most people feel like that. The entire thing with rushing a game out and fixing it later is such a bad politic for games. It ends up being a shitty product overall. Like, no one wants a game that's good like 2 years after they spent the money, you know? Like with Battlefield, like Star Wars Battlefront 2, I mean. Like, that game, it's good now, but at release, man, holy shit, people hated that game.
Yeah, like, we wouldn't want to go like the early release route. The same, what's it? Wait, what's it called on Steam? Early access.
Early access,
that's it, sorry. Yeah, we won't want to do that. for those reasons that you said, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision, to be honest. I think I like it also brings some hype, you know, like knowing it's in the works. And obviously in time you will reveal more and you guys will show more and people are anxiously waiting for it, so I think it's good. Okay. Do you guys have any ambition of maybe doing another game in the future? Like if this is a success, are you gonna take this studio to like another level in the future? Is this something you guys have talked about at all? Maybe expanding the studio in the future if you do well?
Yeah, so basically like Mordhau has a really I don't know exactly what their like agreements are internally, but like they're gonna really struggle to make a new product because like let's say for example one guy has got like, let's say he's got 10% in the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the company wants to make a new game with like the Mordhau IP. So then what happens is that everyone's gonna start working on this new game, and there's this one guy that's got 10% who does fucking nothing, right? And everyone is literally just working, and that guy's getting paid even though he contributed nothing, right? Which is really bad. Like that's why I think one of the biggest reasons why Tritonian we're not gonna make a new product anytime soon, because if not everyone wants to work on it, then you know everyone's just going to be working for someone else's sake, which no one wants to do.
Yeah,
so,
that's
like,
true.
We've already spent thousands, like literal thousands, in legal fees, like setting up the business in such a way, like the company, where it's like we have this agreements X, Y, and Z. We have like a pretty complex like limited company structure where we will be working, or like we plan to work on projects in the future, which would be like a massive expansion to the original one, because basically like I'm doing a massive gamble, right? Basically what I'm predicting and what I'm hoping and that I'm gonna like do everything in my power to make it happen is that Ad Mortem pops off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after Ad Mortem pops off and we support it for a couple of years or whatever, we will work on another project which is gonna be even bigger scope, bigger team, bigger investment, and that's gonna pop up even harder. So I had to set up the business in such a way where we can support that kind of expansion to the company, and that literally costs fucking thousands. Like it's a fucking ball ache, man. I honestly, like it gets me triggered because I literally feel as though like if you're some random Joe like me trying to make a company, the UK like business, like corporate legal system, whatever, is literally designed to like fuck you over in so many ways possible that you can't set up a company and like basically like rise up from like being like some fucking wage slave into like a company owner. You literally have to have like thousands in equity, and like luckily we have some investors. Otherwise like, there's no chance like we'd end up with like a really bad fucking setup like Tritonians where you've just got like some guy that does nothing getting like 30% of the revenue or whatever, and it's like wow, nice.
Yeah, I mean, it is important to set up a proper structure before you start working on a project, knowing, like, the limits there is, but also, like, so the team is in agreement with what's gonna go on. Because the entire thing you said with people getting 10% not working on it, I mean, it seems like a really bad deal if the guy then decides to, not really do anything or don't want to be a part of the project, then he's getting free money. I can understand, but so you are saying that if the game pops off and you guys are going to maybe produce another product in the future, and like with bigger scale, you're planning on it, at least.
That's definitely the plan, yeah, 100%. And
that's like, very good to know.
Yeah, the business infrastructure reflects that as well, like what we've got set up.
That's cool. Man, so there's a lot of good stuff coming in the future, boys. Better get the hype up. Okay, that's cool, man. I love that you're like, see, like when I said I wanted to talk to you about like some of the game development stuff as well. It was this kind of stuff that I think a lot of people wanted to know, without you giving away a lot of stuff and leaking stuff. Like small stuff like this really helps bring the hype as well. Now that we know that you have a strong backbone in the company and that your team works well together and learn from each other, that just raises, both expectations, but it also, gives us a good idea what kind of studio you guys are, having. And I think that's good because in today's time, man, like, let's be real, gaming studios is not exactly what they have been. Their reputation is not always super good. Mainly the indie studios is the one getting the most praise as of late. All the big ones are starting to disappoint every year, so it's good to see that you guys are, like, taking the right steps for what's best for the consumers as well of the product. Okay, why did you quit Mordhau? I mean, you still play it sometimes, but like, what would make you stay if you were to come back to it a little bit, like once in a while?
If the game had like a decent skill ceiling, I would definitely still play. Like if there was competitive, I would definitely still play to compete and to like get good, because I really enjoy getting good at games. Like for me, being the best is actually really boring, because you have nothing to strive for then. But like the whole get journey is like, in my opinion, my favorite part. That's why I keep learning new games. Like, you know, like I'm learning fighting games now, and then I'm learning like you know, like Dota again. Started playing that, and like, you know, that's my favorite part. But the problem is in Mordhau is like there's nowhere to go, right? You reach like a level of skill where like it's like that, it just caps off really hard, right? And then like at that level of skill, you know, there's no tournaments, there's fucking like no one to play against, and it's like it's not even fun. Like, the thing is in Shiv is that there was barely any tournaments anyway, right? But the reason why we played at such a high level is because it was actually fundamentally extremely fun. Like even just playing at like top level, even if like you feel that you're not improving that much, still just straight up fun. Whereas Mordhau is just not. The game just feels stressful and like tiring to play. Like literally just feels tiring.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I agree. Like with Shiv, you could just go in, right, and you could just have like a fucking blast, and like I don't know what it was. Like the game was like a release almost. Like you felt this like release playing it. And with Mordhau, you feel that it's actually just like sucking your energy. And I know why it's like that. It's basically the way how the combat's built, because it's so attrition based. Like in Shiv, what you would do is you would go up to someone like and you would fucking kill them. You'd just be like, and you just like do some like brutal like feint into like backswing or whatever. You'd like fuck them up, and you would put your effort into the offensive part of the game.
Yeah.
But in Mordhau, you put all your effort into like just parrying basically.
Yeah.
Just like dealing with like riposte, and then there's no like 1vx or anything like that.
No.
So yeah, it's just like honestly, for me, the game is just shit. Like I understand there's a lot of people out there who like Mordhau. You know, they like going into a pub, like really foppish, like put bear trap, you know, run around, and like, you know, they're having a great time, and that's fine. Like, you know, and they enjoy the game. But for me, that's not what I wanted from Mordhau. And as a result, that's why I don't play it anymore, because like I only cared about competitive, and there's no competitive. So
yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think a lot of us can kind of connect to that to some extent, right? A lot of the people that play Mordhau have a love-hate relationship to it. Like, people are addicted to the game, but they wish they weren't, because, as you said, the game is very tiring. Like, if I've streamed Mordhau for 5 hours, like, right, like, I'm gonna be so fucking tired after. It like, I'd done a couple of tournaments where it took like 6 hours with no breaks. My mind was molten after. Like, I had to just lay down in bed and relax. It was super draining, even though I wasn't even playing. Just like looking at it and casting it in itself is also draining. But I do love it though. But like, I want something better than Mordhau, because I feel like Mordhau is a huge missed opportunity as well, you know. That's why I'm looking a lot forward to what you are making, because Shiv 2 again seems like stupid fun, but it's not something that can occupy me for like a long time. I think if what you guys are making is what I'm hoping for, that it's gonna be like the next Mordhau for me, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. So if you were like the lead dev of Mordhau, how would you have handled you know, the competitive part of it? Like, if you were the leader of like the comp scene and tournament stuff and all this kind of stuff, getting sponsors and all this shit, like, what would you have done for it?
I mean, the problem with Mordhau is that they didn't really need it. Like, the thing is, I would literally tell you like a massive, I could tell you a massive plan on what I would do, but I'm not gonna put that into the public now, because I have these plans elsewhere. Yeah. But like, basically what I can say for Mordhau is that they missed massive opportunities. So like, on release, they had Red Bull tweet them and say esports went, and they did fucking nothing. Right?
Oh my, are you serious?
I'm 100% serious. Like,
Oh
you can
my
find
god,
the tweet.
what?
Yeah, you can find the tweet, right? You had ESL like trying to organize tournaments, like Tritonian just did nothing, right? They just missed opportunity after opportunity. They just did nothing, right? They literally just like didn't act. And I don't know why. I don't know who to point the finger at. I couldn't tell you, like, but they're just missing opportunities, right? And that's literally the that's the main issue, is inaction.
Holy shit.
They didn't act when you release a game. And the thing is, I know this is not my own knowledge. I got told, because I've got some IRL friends that work in AAA, and I've got some that work in indie, right? So my IRL friends that work in AAA, they have like, I mean, one of them literally has over 30 years experience. Because he's like a fucking boomer, basically. But he explained to me, like, he said, the time of crunch, like the time when you should be crunching, is not before you release the game. It's when you release the game. Like, as soon as the game gets released, it's like a snowball, right? And you have to keep it rolling for as long as it possibly can. And that's not what Tritanium did. They did the opposite, right? They crunched before release to get the game out, and then they were just exhausted, and then they just stopped, right?
And they slacked on it.
Yeah, there was like no patches post-release for like what, 4 months or some shit. Like, they barely added anything, right? And you can see it on the Steam charts. Like, the player count just goes from like 60k to like 10k in like the space of a couple of months, because they just did nothing. So that's the biggest problem that Tritanium made. Inaction. It's literally down to inaction.
I'm actually lost for words. Like, if anything I did had like a sponsor offer for Red Bull, like, that's one of the best sponsors you can probably have. Like, you can get Red Bull almost all over the globe. It's like huge brand. They have it in they have sponsors in literally every kind of sport that is like big around the world at some point. I can't believe you wouldn't take that. It seems like such a huge fuck up not to take them up on that. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, they could have done so much. They could sponsor tournaments. They could do so much with it.
Oh man, they wasn't just like I'm trying to find this Red Bull tweet, but like there's also shit like you had fucking like No Tail. If anyone doesn't know who No Tail is, he's like one of the highest paid Dota pros, like absolute fucking god, like really well known. He's the captain of like arguably one of the best Dota 2 teams as well, right? And like at the end of, I think it was an international or some shit, like they were interviewing him and he was saying like, oh, what other games do you play? And he's like, yeah, I play Mordhau. Like, you know, he's like hyping up Mordhau and shit. And it's just like, they never reached out to him, nothing like that. Like, man, like fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, man, you gotta scout for potential like that, honestly. Like,
yeah.
Like, but one person...
Like, they didn't even need to scout, because it's like, it was coming to them. Like, they just, it was like, they're coming to them, you know, they just had to like basically open their arms, but they didn't do shit. That like, it's just, yeah, it's fucking tilting.
Yeah, that seems a little weird to me as well, because like Among Us, for example, right, was like pretty much worthless. No one knew about it. Then a couple of streamers caught up on it, and the fucking entire world exploded over it. Like you cannot underestimate how important, you know, these influencers are. You know, like, one bad review from someone really influential can really fuck you up, but one endorsement can also really give you a good shove in the right direction. I can't believe that they wouldn't do that. Like, oh my god, man, like, it actually tells me, I don't know shit about marketing, but like, to me it sounds like a no-brainer on the Red Bull thing, and the other guy that you know, talked well about Mordhau. Do something for them, you know, like I would have a Red Bull on my fucking chest in Mordhau if it were sponsored, you know, just for the memes. Yeah. You could do so much with it.
Posted it in the Twitch chat, the tweet, like, he found it. So that was in 2019, like May the 5th, 2019. I think that was just when the game, it was like a month after the game released. And they literally tweeted him. Like, yeah, sure, the tweet didn't get many likes, but it doesn't matter, because you have a representative of fucking Red Bull, like, reaching out. And they just fucking didn't do shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, that in itself, you know, it's impressive when Red Bull reaches out, you know, to begin with. I mean, yeah, sure, it has like 67 likes, and that's not a lot, and 6 retweets. But still, like, you could at least DM them and, hey, you know, are you serious about the offer? What are you guys thinking? Stuff like that. You know, like, at least try, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're afraid of reaching out, you're never have any chance of winning, you know, the prize. You gotta try and compete and you know, put yourself out there, especially if they request you and you don't even like answer to it. Like there's no chance that they're gonna do that again, you know. It just makes you look a little stupid. Damn. Okay, so you were on the Twitch Rivals at one point. I actually didn't see that on Twitch. I found out about it after, and you pretty much slaughtered everyone else, right? Can you tell me a little about what happened that day? Because the casters were fucking loving you for just destroying the entire server.
Right. So basically, what happened so I was streaming Mordhau when it came out, and I was one of the top people in the section. So what happened is Frodan, who's like a Twitch, like he's Twitch staff, he DM'd me on Discord, and he was like, yeah, we want to do a Twitch Rivals thing. Can you help us set it up? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Damn.
So like I basically said like, look, this is how like, you know, you do tournaments in Melee Slasher, like you know, you want to do this and this, and like, you know, this is how you set up the server. And the reason why he reached out to me is because they didn't fucking Tritonian didn't fucking respond to him, so they reached out to me. He reached out to me, yeah.
Oh my
god.
God.
I gave him as much advice as I could, and he said, right, well, considering how much that you've helped out, even though you're not a partner streamer or anything, like, you know, we're happy to let you like take part in the Twitch Rivals. And I said, like, look, if I play in the Twitch Rivals, it's gonna be a stomp. And he was like, oh, it's fine, man, don't worry about it. So yeah, that's how I got into the Twitch Rivals. But like, because I basically, the thing is that like there was the money, right? It was like, oh yeah, fucking, you know, can make like $1,000 or whatever. But like at the end of the day, I just tried to put on a good show. Yeah. To like try and represent the game, like to try and show the skill of the game as much as possible. Because like, imagine if I just went up to him with like a dub axe, a war axe, sorry, and just like fainted like the noobs and just like two hit him every time. Yeah. It's gonna make the game look bad. So like I played with like the pan and shit to like, you know, try and show like how much there is to the game. Yeah, also the fun aspect of it as well, you know, like the entire pan thing, like people know Mordhau is also a little bit of a meme game, you know, people like to fuck about. There's all the cosplayers and role players, and you even see that a lot in duels. There's some farmers gonna walk up to you with a pan and whoop your ass sometimes, and it also brings something to the game that isn't always necessarily only have to be like sweaty. I mean, sure, you can play like Mordhau casually. That's not really what it's good for, but you can. And I do think that it's cool to see that some of the newer players just meme around, you know, walk out in dual servers with some stupid shit, like a pan and a buckler, and just go ape shit, like looking like the minions, you know, stuff like that. It brings something to the game, and you can't really do that in a lot of other games, I think, you know what I mean? So it has something, I think. Like, okay, another question real quick. Do you have any thoughts of them doing the entire mod thing soon? Releasing that? What do you think it's going to do for the game? The mod thing? You mean the SDK?
Yes.
The thing is that, right, so basically, like, you can already make Mordhau mods right now. So it's not going to change that much, in my opinion, because you can already make mods and there's already a shit ton of tools, right? So what's going to happen is basically the problem with Mordhau modding right now is you can't test in the editor. Like if you want to test your mod, you have to cook and like basically ship it and like put it on a server or like test it locally and see if it works, right? Which is a fucking ball ache when it comes to like iteration. But with the SDK, when the official SDK comes out, you can just press the play button in editor and see if it's working. So that will help up iteration a lot. The problem is that when the official SDK comes out, it's probably going to break every single existing mod.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and all the existing knowledge might change somewhat because I think they're having to upheave a lot of the code base basically to release the SDK because the game's not ready for an SDK. So I honestly don't think it's going to change that much. And on top of that, like the Mordhau modding community is probably not going to grow anymore. I think it will just stay the same as what it is right now. So as a result, excuse me, I don't think there's going to be I don't think there'll be that much different. Sure, we might see some more extravagant mods and shit, but yeah, like I just don't think it's going to change that much, honestly. Like, I think it's too late for the SDK, honestly. Like, if they had it on release, it would have had like huge potential. Like you might have had people like already working on like I don't know, some like epic survival mod or some shit.
Oh
like,
yeah, that would be so cool.
Yeah, but I think now like it's very unlikely that the official SDK will change much. And if it does, it's just very unlikely in my opinion. Anyway, I just don't think it's gonna change much at all.
So, do you think that they should have maybe hired some of the talented modders that the game has to offer like early on? Because I think that a lot of the mods that have come out have had like a really good impact on the game. Like for example, the entire Star Wars thing. I know it doesn't really fit Mordhau, like the genre that well, it being medieval and then there being Star Wars, but the mod is well made and well received, and there's even been tournaments for it and stuff like that. Do you think they kind of missed out on that? Not hiring some of the map designers that do modding and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, they definitely missed out. They did hire one of the modders though, like Battlefield Recapacitator. But basically, like I was there for the inception of like the USDK. So what happened is like there was people who were making different strides in reverse engineering the game, right? So I remember making a server with like it was Matman, Battlefield, Syswick. In fact, I still got the server, but this was like right at the start of the USDK. And then like Plu also made like a massive initiative where he basically pulled all the assets out of the game and made like a pack with it. So like that was the start of the USDK. So then the only person that they took from that initial team was Battlefield, who works professionally for Triton. You know, I don't know what his contract's like, but I think if you want to, like he'll like Battlefield's still like one with the community. I'd say he's like very close with the community. Same with like Geach. So you could ask, like, if you do want to ever ask a Tritonian dev something, I'd probably recommend speaking to those two. Sorry, I completely forgot the original question.
That's fine. I would love to interview some of the Mordhau devs, but I don't think that any of them are really up to it. I mean, Jax is obviously, it's not really a dev, he's just on the team as a community manager, right? I would
Geach or Battlefield. I think that they would help you. And like, just say to Geach, because Geach is always active in the Mordhau Discord, always chatting to people. So just say like, look, I'm doing this like podcast or whatever. Yeah. Like, would you be down for going VC? And then like make sure that you let him know that it's not going to be adversarial at all. Like you're not going to try and ask him like some gotcha questions and shit.
What do you mean?
Because like for example, you know, when like, because basically like I guarantee Triton are going to be pretty afraid of journalism, right? After what happened with like the PC game and shit. So like if you chat to one of them, just say like, look, I'm like from within the community and like I'm not trying to make you look bad, but you know, we just want to like want to ask you some questions and like get your opinion on stuff. You know, I'm not going to ask you any like bullshit questions. But I'm going to try and make you look bad. Now I think he'll do it.
That's pretty much what I did with Jax, you know, actually as well. But he stood me up yesterday. My heart's still broken, man. I had so many people waiting and I was so stoked. The pain. So you pretty much saved this like entire, you know, weekend for me, because I have like a tournament to cast tomorrow and stuff like that, and I was super bummed out when I, you know, reached out to you yesterday, because I've been you know, preparing and was super excited and people were ready and that kind of stuff. So the fact that you now came in and took that spot over, I mean, obviously I've wanted you on for a while, you know that. You're also one of the very requested guests because everyone knows you and you have a lot of insight, and also, you know, you're making a new game which a lot of people are very interested in. So you pretty much saved my like weekend with that, I'm not gonna lie. So cheers for wanting to join in. It really means a lot.
It's alright, man. I was actually like looking forward to. It's kind of nice like talking on someone else's stream. Honestly, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like refreshing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of wanted to do something a little different in the Mordhau community, because there's occasionally tournaments and stuff like that, and most of it is just talking, but playing. The most of it is just playing, you know. But like, there's not really anyone that does this, and I think it would be good to, you know, get to know people on another level, or get to know another side of people as well from the community. Like, for example, when I had Bear on, right? Like, a lot of people know him as like a super toxic piece of shit and stuff like that. But he, like, when I had him on, he was very like, you know, cooled down and like easy to talk to and outgoing. So you know, I think to have people on and talk about different stuff kind of gives people another way of seeing people, so it's not as much, you know, prejudice and that kind of stuff, because the community is small, everyone knows everyone pretty much, but no one really knows anybody either, you know, on a personal level. I mean, obviously this doesn't make us like close personally or anything like that, but I feel like people get a better idea of who they're talking to when they get to see them on a platform like this instead of just, you know, in game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Chat, do you have any questions? I'm pretty much like through the ones that I have written down.
So Jaeger asked, do you think that the SDK will help out for the comp community? The SDK will help Despacito, and Despacito is probably like one of the only people who are working for competitive mods, so I would hope so. Yeah, like I think I think what will happen is like we'll probably end up playing on like a comp mod in Mordhau, if the balance is going to be like it is. But the problem is that someone has to make one which is good enough, and it was very like, so if I explain from in Shiv, right, getting people over onto a competitive mod was a fucking ball ache. Even if it is literally factually better, it's gonna be a ball ache getting people onto the competitive mod. So I would hope it would. And my thoughts on Renown. So basically, Renown is made by, like, Zombo Joe is the leader of that project. He's like a really old NA Shiv player. He was involved with the slasher testing. Like, he's been about for fucking ages. So I would hope that guy's got a lot of experience and knowledge on, you know, how to make a good melee slasher. And like, his game is still very early in dev. But it's looking like, you know, it could be something like very interesting. So I hope that he manages to, you know, keep going with the development and like make it insane, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. I generally think that Terrans should really just hire Despacito already, because I literally think he can alone kind of save, you know, like comp to some extent. Not obviously not make it back esports and stuff like that, but I think he could at least make it worth playing, you know, to some extent, right? And like, if it gets popularized and people start really wanting it, maybe they could start doing some small tournaments or something. Like, I don't mean like $1,000 tournament, but like, I think that even if there was a tournament for like $250, just because it would be an official tournament, people would stand up for it. Like, people would come to it, just because the comp community is pretty, you know, persistent. They, even though the game is going through a lot of rough patches, especially here for comp, they still play, and I think that it would be good for them to hire someone that understands the comp community and is a part of it, and also wants to build the best for it they possibly can. It don't have to cost them a ton of money to do it, I think, as well. Because, you know, he already knows what's up, and he's giving people what they want, like the field of view mod, for example. Some people don't like it, a lot of people love it, and I think that should be like an optional thing in some game modes, for example, or maybe, you know, if they hired him and they updated the player model so that you could have that vision without it like bucking out of the shoulders and stuff like that, you could make that work if they wanted to, you know. So it's a bit of a shame. I don't want to work for Criterion, no management. True, they should just give you like 5k and just let you run it. It's just like, but yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Yeah, we will force you. We will force you, Despa. You have to. It's not a question of want anymore. But yeah, you know, I don't really have much more question-wise. So unless chat has something interesting. Oh, actually, I do have one. So for Ad Mortem, right? When it's releasing, do you guys plan on doing like a roadmap with like to come content to hype people up? Like Mordhau didn't really do anything at launch. Are you guys gonna like say this is to come? You know?
Yeah, definitely. So what my plan is, like company kind of like policy, I guess, is like we want to be like very close with the community, because like you can be as an indie dev, you don't need to, you know how AAA studios, like the community is like over there, and like, you know, they're over there, and they just kind of like keep themselves. With an indie dev, you shouldn't be like that, and there's no benefit to being like that. Yeah, we're gonna be like very open with like what we're doing and our plans as well. Yeah, for sure. So like I said, we've already got like our internal like roadmaps, so we'd probably just make those public, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a good idea, because roadmaps always helps people like build hype for the future. A lot of games where everything is kept in the dark, you don't really know what's going on, so a lot of people just expect them to not really do much, you know, and like showing the public that you're working on something and working towards something is a big help. And I do think that like the live stream they did for Mordhau, right, where they went live to devs and like talked about the future, I think that was a good idea. I think they should do that more often. Is that something that your team potentially would try in the future, maybe like going live and talk about like updates or get community feedback that way or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Like we definitely do stuff like that.
That's good to hear,
without a doubt. Yeah, because it's also important to get like feedback from the community.
Absolutely.
So I'm not gonna say anything specific, but basically like you have to be very careful where if you surround yourself with this bubble of feedback, you might not be getting the whole picture.
Yeah.
I mean, like this applies to everywhere in life, you know, like someone tells you something and you're just like, oh, okay, that's the truth now, but you never got like the other side of it.
Yeah.
And the same comes in for game balance. It's like, you know, you could be getting feedback from one area, but you're not understanding the greater picture of the game. So the only way to get all the feedback is you have to get it. You have to get all the fucking feedback, and then you have to compile it and figure out exactly what to do, like, you know, what the feedback's saying, for example.
That is true. For example, here in Mordhau, you'll have like a level 40 player complain about horses and feints and all this kind of stuff, right? And like catapults and all this stuff in frontline. So they don't really have that grasp on the game yet. And then we have like the super sweaty comp players and the high level duelists and all that kind of stuff. The balance changes they want is not going to be the same, but still they need to like see both sides. And I think it's important for studio as well to recognize both sides and not be biased towards one of them, because then you will kind of lose interest from the other, like the counterpart of it. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, someone is asking, GIRU, apart from the takeaways from you repeating the same rant about lack of marketing and cross being showed over and over, what are some of the biggest lessons you learned from Mordhau that you're hoping you'll help you make Ad Mortem successful? Well, that's actually a very good question.
I mean, the summary of that, Mikolaus, is marketing, design, and management are the main things that Mordhau lacked. That's like the three things, because they have like very capable like programming, they have very capable artists, you know, but the main thing that I'd say the root of all their issues is like essentially leadership. That's the root of Mordhau's issues. They just don't have any leadership. So like it all comes down to that, and like the intricacies of leadership itself, like running a company and a game project, you know. And I'm not gonna say too much, because it's like, you know, like, yeah, I've got a company, and like, you know, we've got like an alpha, and like so far development's going great, you know, like honestly we're really fucking hyped, like internally. We're having a lot of fun in the playtest and shit, but the problem is that like, you know, we've not actually released a game yet, so I'm not gonna start like, oh yeah, this is how you do stuff and this is how you do stuff. I have my opinions on how things should be run, but you know, we'll see with the test of time, basically.
Are you guys planning on, when you do like a closed alpha or something like that, if you are gonna do that, of course, to like give out keys to like hire like to known people and maybe like have them like try it out?
We already have some internal playtesters.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm not gonna tell you who.
No, if that's fair.
Yeah, we have some, because like basically it's people that I like really trust, and like they're very, very competent testers as well.
That's good.
So
okay, so
can't say much more. Yeah, I can't say much more.
Let me rephrase then. So if you're gonna do a closed beta at some point, but like soon before the release, are you guys gonna do maybe an open beta at some point or something like that, or is it just gonna be like straight release?
We will probably need to do some testing at some point because essentially, like, I'm going to be building a shit ton of systems. I need to see how they work under load. There'll be a lot of different systems, so like we would probably benefit from some large scale testing. Whether we're going to do it or not, I don't want to promise anything yet, but I'd say it's fairly likely.
Yeah, because I think it would be good if you guys maybe shipped out some keys for like closed beta for someone that could build hype for the game, you know. Maybe also someone out from the scene of Melee Slasher as well. Someone like, for example, Shroud, you know, tried Mordhau out. I think it would be crazy if you, like, someone like him or someone like upscale that everyone looks up to or know. I think that would be good for the game as well. Obviously, I don't know much about it, but like that's what I think at least. Also, if you want to hook me up for key, you know my DMs. Also, with that said, Swan had a good question actually. What about funding for the game? You thinking about doing any kind of Kickstarter maybe at some point, or do you guys have that handled already and you're already like funded well?
We do have funding, but for a game, you can never have too much like investment.
That's true.
The more money that goes into the game, the better you can make the game. So it's like, you know, we'll look at different ways to fund. It's very likely, very, very likely that we might do a Kickstarter or something. But we'll see. There's like, we have plans. Like for example, right? There's not 100% we'll do a Kickstarter, but we already have our Kickstarter planned out if we do one.
Okay.
Like we have, I'd say about.
Yeah, honestly, take my money.
Kickstarter campaign planned out, yeah. If we do one.
Okay, and is that with like you gain something if you pay specific amounts and that kind of stuff, like with Mordhau?
Yeah. There will be exclusive shit in there.
Oh no, I just gotta start saving up now then, boys. We gotta get that funding in place.
We'll definitely have exclusive shit for a Kickstarter if we do one.
That's cool. And I trust you will let people know as soon as that stuff kicks in, right?
Yeah, I will use every lever I can pull for marketing, like when the time comes.
That's good to know.
Yeah, everything I can to like get the word out. But the thing is that like I don't want to start like tooting our own horn and all this kind of shit until we start showcasing our gameplay.
Yes,
and our combat core on Unreal Engine 5, because like I think that like a lot of games they're not very honest, right? They like show like very editorialized like trailers and stuff. We don't want to do that. We want to be like very honest, so like we'll just show like raw gameplay basically and be like, yeah, this is like, you know, this is how the game's looking, this is how it plays, and then we'll start marketing the fuck out of it.
I think that's better as well. There's nothing worse than pledging to a product and then finding out it's a piece of shit when it releases because they like hyper edited or something like that. Like, again, I'm gonna use Cyberpunk as a reference here. All the gameplay you saw, crisp, smooth, looks really good. The game releases, you know, doesn't look very good. Even though, and like, you know, stuff like that's not good. People are thinking pricing as well for the game. If that's something you guys can talk about, maybe it's like 60, 30, 15. I'd imagine
like
probably like 30.
20 to 30 most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's nice. Because, you know, like it's not usual for like indie studios to make games for like $60, right? That's mainly the bigger companies.
Yeah, only a AAA game can warrant having a 60 quid game, but it's like the problem is that we won't really want to do that anyway, because it also limits the amount of people that can get the game if it's that expensive.
That's
the
true.
only reason why AAA games can do it is because they, like, for example, if you look at like Red Dead, I think their budget was like fuck, one sec, let me just get some numbers on this so I don't talk shit, but basically about 50% of their budget was marketing, literally like 50% of it. Yeah, so Red Dead Redemption 2, the budget was like 80 to 100 million.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? But like when you have a franchise as well that are well known for people who know your games, like GTA, for example, you know, they've been like Rockstar's been around for fucking many years. They have an established franchise. Everyone knows them. They can kind of also, you know, put up and say, yo, $60, you know what you're gonna get. You know us, we deliver, you know. So people trust in it, you know. I would probably not spend 60 euros on a game which I knew nothing about when there's other games out there costing the same. And sometimes you have to prioritize instead. If you have it $30, you can buy both. And, you know, if you don't like one of them, you can always refund. And, you know, I think that makes more sense, actually, yeah.
Sorry, I went on Wikipedia and it's saying that analyst estimations place the game's combined development marketing budget between $370 million and $540 million. I don't know where the first... Okay, it was Cura. That's why I said 100 million. Cura is always fucking wrong. But yeah, sorry. Just wanted to like rectify the numbers that I said.
Yeah. So you think it's justified to spend like a big percent of budget on marketing, right? I mean,
not fucking like 50%, not like a fucking AAA, but like we definitely invest in some marketing. Like, I would love to do, you know, provided we have the income. You know, these sponsorships for like content creators, where it's like, oh, you play our game for a bit, and like we'll basically give you money. You know, I think that goes like a long way.
Oh yeah.
And like I speak to because I do sponsor. I have like 2 companies that give me sponsorships for different games. So it's like I've got links to those. So if I wanted to do like a content creator sponsorship campaign, I'd go to them and basically be like, you know, we want to get some streamers like, you know, from like other, basically people that potentially would have an overlap that may not know of the game. So like maybe they'll reach out to like a COD streamer or something, and maybe there'd be like an overlap there or some shit. They have like a bunch of analytics. So we'll do stuff like that if we have the funding for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you know, like I said, we're not gonna put like 50% of the fucking budget on marketing. That's fucking cocaine.
Yeah. I mean, like a game like, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 is gonna be a hit just as soon as they announced it, anyways. You know, because people loved Red Dead Redemption 1, the original, anyways. And like, you know, they like it. Rockstar, again, it's a trusted company. It's one of the few that people still look up to. I mean, shit, they have fucked up a little bit with the casinos in GTA 5 and all that kind of stuff, right? But besides that, like, I would say that Red Dead Redemption 2 was like a masterpiece, one of my all-time favorite games. There's not ever been a game where I stopped up as much and just looked around because of how, you know, pretty the game was, and the story was good. So, you know, if a game that you know is going to be absolutely banging and you have a huge budget, you might as well market it a lot. But I can understand it's different from, like, you know, an indie studio. I mean, 50% still sounds like a lot, like a lot. But there was also an ad like every single YouTube video you watched at the time, you know? Yeah, it was fucking crazy. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think you know, again, as I said a couple of times, I covered most of what I've had. Oh, actually, one last thing. Trailer for the game, is that in works?
We have like plans for what the trailer would entail, but we've not like started actually working on the trailer itself yet, basically because we want some more. I think there's some stuff that we're still working on that would take part in the trailer.
Okay.
So not working on the trailer yet, basically.
So it's gonna be like a super hype trailer. Is that what you're saying? Is it gonna be a cinematic trailer, or is it gonna be a gameplay trailer? Because a lot of big companies just release cinematic trailers and they don't really show gameplay of well. Are you gonna do like, which one are you gonna do? Or are you gonna do both?
We'll do both. Yeah, we want to do a cinematic and because basically like one of the reasons I want to do a cinematic one, honestly, is because like some guys in our art team are like really into that kind of shit and they just want to do it, you know. So I'm like, yeah. Fuck it, let's do it. Like, if you guys got the passion for it and you want to make something cool like that, let's fucking do it.
I mean, I think its cinematic trailers work as well if you know, there's still some, if they reflect the game as well, and you can draw like comparison to the gameplay trailer as well, and you just kind of show off, like, you know, the environment like the scenery and all that kind of stuff. It's good. Like that's a lot of what Red Dead Redemption 2 did as well, was like showing a lot of scenery and that kind of stuff that helps you like, wow, this is actually really amazing looking. I think doing both is probably like the right call. But then again, you're the expert on this. I'm happy to hear that. I'm super excited to see what you guys come up with for Ad Mortem, and I'm sure that all the other people here are as well. But like, when are you streaming? Are you streaming sometime soon, or?
I need to eat some breakfast, and I need to do some normie chores. Like I gotta like clean the kitchen and like clean up.
Man.
There's loads of like on the chair behind me. There's loads of like folded clothes that need putting away, and like I need to go to the shop and like I don't know.
You know, daily life shit. Yeah, I mean that's true. There's gotta be time for that as well. But you know, unless any of you guys in chat have anything, Hellish Quart. Have you tried that Hellish Quart?
Oh my god, Hellish Quart, amazing.
You like it? I hate it.
I've not tried it. I've not tried it yet.
Oh, don't I hate it so much. You have to play the controller. My controller's broken. I mean, there's probably good skill ceiling to it, but man, it's kind of like wobbly and weird, you know, in terms of controls. It's very, very strange. I bought it like literally 10 minutes after it released. But yeah. Okay, well.
To Revy's question, he's asking, we need a good system to run. Right, so basically, like, we're gonna be on Unreal Engine 5. So the game is gonna have like, you know, ideally insane fucking graphics. The difference between Mordhau and Ad Mortem, I think it's difficult for me to say, but there's some things in Mordhau, right, just the way how Mordhau's built, where it's like fundamentally very difficult to make it run better, because like these certain things have to be running. So as a result, no matter how much you drop your graphics, it just doesn't seem to improve your FPS.
Yes.
With Ad Mortem, we're not going to have these issues. You know, like specifically, we're not going to have the same issues, right? So,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, we're planning on potentially shipping with like a potato mode option as well. Like there would literally be a setting which is potato mode, so you don't have to go in like innies and start doing it and shit, you know.
I mean that would be good, honestly. There are some PC gamers that run on like 9060s and stuff still, and you know, like it's not that they can't be used for modern gaming, but they can't really hold up into like newer, like, you know, advanced graphics. So it'd be cool if there was a potato mode, honestly. Yeah, I think that's good. Especially for some of the people streaming on like low-end PCs as well. They can still get to enjoy it and share the content. Oh yeah, max field of view. People want to know. It's bigger than Mordhau. Yes?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Okay, fair enough. But can you at least say if it's gonna be improved from Mordhau? In your personal opinion.
Well, speaking about Mordhau specifically, like I'm trying to think how to describe it. So, like, what you have to understand is that the reason why Mordhau's FOV feels so limiting is because of the way the game is. So it's like the game is very aim centric. You know, you have to like do, like, let's say you're doing let's say I'm doing a 1vx against like red, blue, and bear, right? The only way I'm gonna bypass a parry is I have to do some like disgusting drag to like red, blue. But then by doing a disgusting drag, red, blue, bear's like fucked off, you know, behind me somewhere, right? And then I can't see him anymore. So like I'm not gonna tell you what Ad Mortem's FOV is, but I'm just saying for Mordhau's case specifically, one of the reasons why it feels so limiting is just the way how the combat design is.
Okay.
It makes it like exasperates like how bad the FOV is. But like for me, you know, personally in Shiv, I used to play on like 145 FOV, sometimes 155.
Oh wow!
So I like playing on high FOV. But yeah, like we'll see.
But you can't downscale it, right? If it like, let's say the base is like very high, right? Not confirming that it is, but you would be able to downscale it, right, to fit your personal like preference.
Yeah, it's piss easy to change the FOV in Unreal Engine. It's literally like you basically have like a camera, which is where the player sees, and there's literally just a FOV like number that you put in, and that changes
Okay.
FOV. There's also like other strategies you can do to make higher FOV look better. For example, like there's the panini projection, which you can scale it to some degree. So if you use like too heavy on the panini projection, it fucks up like your depth perception. But you can get it to like a kind of sweet spot where the fisheye is reduced, but you still maintain some kind of depth perception.
Okay, that's cool. That's good to know.
To maintain like the quality of the game. But the thing is that like, you know, I can definitely tell you that Ad Mortem's not going to have like 200 fucking FOV because I don't want our top content creators representing the game on that FOV, because then it's literally bad for marketing. So there definitely wouldn't be that. But the specific number I can't tell you.
Okay, that is fair. Feel of view equals IQ. Tracking for it says. Well, yeah. Is there anything else you have on heart? Anything specific you want to ask me or something? I don't know.
Well, yeah, the one thing I could say is that like if you want to do a podcast like with Tritonian, I try and get Geek Shot or Battlefield and just like, because like I'd like to tune into that as well, and basically. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know why Jax didn't. Did he message you after? Or
no.
He didn't.
No, I have something about another dev actually apologized for him, saying that he supposedly had some college work and he was gonna be AFK for a couple of days or something. But you know, like I've been trying to get Jax for over a month, like he was figuring out his schedule, and he recommended this day to me, and I set time for his time zone. So it wouldn't be like 4 in the morning for me, so we could get like the best of both worlds, you know. So it'd be like you know, 1 p.m. for him and like 10 p.m. for me. And he still didn't manage, so you know, I'd imagine he's gonna give me an apology or something like that, you know, like within like a couple of days, something like that. But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm very hopeful with the podcast. Right now it's a very small thing, but I'd like to turn it to something bigger, like in the future. Not only keeping it to Mordhau, but maybe like in just chatting as well, getting some bigger people on, or like as one thing that I can't speak English apparently. Once a week thing, you know, where you have like an interview or something. For example, for me, like I don't really like VTubing and shit, but I'd like to have someone on at some point just to like understand like the logic behind the thing that they do. You know what I mean? Like just out of curiosity, I think just having like a variety of different things on would, like, you know, not only is it interesting to see, you know, the difference, but also for me interesting seeing like what's behind it. You know what I mean? Like the Code Nico, for example. She's doing like this entire thing. I don't know if you know who that is.
No idea, sorry.
Okay, fair enough. But she's like a programmer. She has like a VTuber thing, but it's not like some anime bullshit. It's pretty much like a fully animated suit, and she kind of creates like open worlds where she can be in on Twitch and interviewing big streamers like Pokimane and like professional like league players and all this kind of different shit. So stuff like that sounds interesting to me. That's the kind of VTuber thing I would have on, not like those 30-year-old men with lolly, you know, like with lolly your animated girls, you know, that not that kind of shit, but like the real kind. Yeah, but you know,
that would be cool.
Yeah. You know, just take it somewhere else, you know, not only Mordhau, you know. Mordhau is gonna die eventually, you know, so like I would like to expand in the future as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you. So I just want to say thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you taking time out of your day as well for it. I think it was very interesting having you on, and we learned a lot about Ad Mortem. That, I mean, I did at least. I don't know how much chat learned, because there's a lot of the stuff you talked about with me now. Is that something you talked about a lot before on your own stream?
Like here and there, like segmented. I probably said some stuff that I've not said before.
Okay.
I can't really remember basically, but yeah, probably.
I definitely feel like I got a lot smarter on, like, you know, what you guys are producing, and a little bit of like the work behind the scenes as well, which is not really the side you see a lot from devs and, you know, studios and in general. So I think that was very cool, getting a little bit of insight in that. So yeah, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good stream later.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Then I'm gonna go get some breakfast then, because I'm fucking starving.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, like enjoy the rest of your stream. Then I hope the next podcast you do are pretty fucking sick. Like I would definitely tune in for if you did like a Tritanium one. I'd definitely tune in for that.
Thank you, man. Cool. I appreciate that. And thank you for the feedback as well on those. I will get in contact with them and try and hit them up today. All right, cheers. Cool. Have a good one.
All right, speak to you later.
Well, shit, that's it, boys.